that's fine.
Here we have this thing where you've got your wonderful restaurant. Your book is out now, and you've managed to cook for the world leaders all at the same time. Who is your PR? Who planned all this?
It literally wasn't planned. It's just all happened at once. And I've moved house, so I am officially Superwoman. But I'm an exhausted pot basher now.
Are you? And so you moved house, but within Cornwall.
Within Cornwall, yeah.
Well, look,
I open my new restaurant as well at the end of May, which obviously you're very welcome to come to, Giles. There'll be turbot and merceau waiting for you.
How did you know that? How did you know that turbot and merceau were things that appealed to me?
I don't know. I just had a feeling.
I don't know how anybody ever ate a mouthful of turbot without a delicious merceau to wash it down with. I don't know. I'll take any decent white burgundy. I'll take a Montrachet or something like that. I'm not too fussy. Well, I want to come to the notion of Cornwall and coming to Cornwall, and how welcome I'd be, and whether you defend me from all the locals with the pitchforks. But I do want to just have a quick on the G7. You cooked turbot for them, right?
Yeah, we did turbot. We did a cold melon curry, which sounds pretty strange, but it's very delicious. We kind of refined it, and it was a kind of a gazpacho, fragrant curry, predominantly made with melons, which is really good. And I was so pleased that I managed to get that on the menu for them. And then we did turbot roasted on the bone with a beurre blanc sauce with some spring onions to finish. So really simple. Then 3 Cornish cheeses for them, and then a good old English pavlova. And then I did little mini cones of clotted cream ice cream. So it was good. It was fun. And I think I did bring a little bit of joy to their lives. And that's what my aim was, because food for me is all about just bringing, joy, sharing a table. And I think they enjoyed it very much. So
did they say thank you? Did they say so? Did they say thank you? Did anyone send a thank you note?
Do you know what? Boris asked me up to the table, so I literally was formed by G7 actually.
We all pricked up our ears there, Emily, because we thought that you said Boris asked me out, and I thought I had heard that about Boris.
Oh my goodness, that would be frightening. But no, they were very charming actually, which I don't know. You have an image of all these politicians, don't you? And actually, they were all really lovely people, and they very much enjoyed their supper. So. It was a very kind of I won't forget it for a long time, because it was quite a lot of pressure for me at that point.
And how many was it? Was it just the leaders, or was it a banquet you had to feed their sort of retainers, or was it just the 7 of them?
So it was a reception for kind of 40 initially with the royal family and the Queen, and then it was the leaders and their partners, and then the Sherpas. In the rainforest, because it was set at Eden. So I had the Sherpas in the rainforest and the leaders in the citrus grove. So it was an amazing location. But when they asked me to do the job, that's what appealed to me, that it was so intimate. So you could really kind of, like having friends around. And for me, that's what food's all about. I wanted to kind of see them relax, because I was told that they might not stay. They tend to be quite unrelaxed, and they really were very, very relaxed at the end of the evening. So it was good fun.
When you say relaxed, was this because of all the merceau that you were serving with the turbot?
The fine wine, yeah, no. Well, I think they did. There was very fine wine, actually. It was. I didn't drink very much of that, though, unfortunately. The Foreign Office looked after that.
And what about, were there any sort of special dietary requirements? Was there any, like, please don't poison Joe Biden, he's quite old?
Funnily enough, there were less dietaries than I thought. A lot of, we don't want garlic or onions, which I guess were for kind of, and they weren't kind of allergies as such. But otherwise, no, not really. They wanted decaf coffee, a lot of them. So otherwise, it was all quite simple.
Oh, well, it sounds like an amazing thing. So, look, turning to, and it certainly got you wonderful exposure, and Cornwall. And let's face it, at the point when that was going on, I mean, I suppose there's people in Cornwall, the Cornish Tourist Board, and people who want to give Cornwall more exposure. And, oh, look, the G7's come here. People will come on their holidays to Cornwall. They can't travel as far abroad. But, I mean, I went to Cornwall last year, and everyone was terribly nice. But they don't seem very welcoming, the Cornish, to us from the outside. How are they going to be this summer?
I'm an outsider. I'm not Cornish, so I'm never going to be a kind of in the crowd, so to speak. But I think I mean, if you're in hospitality, I mean, it's an amazing thing. I mean, Cornwall is busier than ever I've seen it, and I've been here kind of 20 years. I think there are challenges for everyone. I think hospitality is really bumpy at the moment, but we're doing our best. But as far as I can see, it's only a positive thing that Cornwall's very much on the map.
Mm-hmm. But is there a sort of is it the thing that one feels about, or as last summer loomed, that the Cornish, we don't want to be filled up with people from, I mean, to be fair, lots of rural communities had that. They don't want lots of people from London coming and bringing their COVID and bringing this Delta variant. Is there an element in which Cornwall is just sort of, there's a sort of people, local people, not wanting to be perceived as a tourist destination, wanting to be seen for something else?
I don't think so. I think Cornwall's always been a tourist destination, and it was that, you remember the time where it took days to get to Cornwall, and you would arrive and it would rain, and now Cornwall is one of the kind of capital of food scenes. I mean, there are so many amazing chefs doing brilliant things, so many producers, suppliers, all doing amazing things. And for me, as a kind of cook chef, kind of throwing the light on those people is what it's more about for me than anything else. But Cornwall has always needed people to come here, and I think it's a positive thing. I just think we all have to navigate it as sensibly as we can.
And so is that the biggest change in the time? How long have you lived in Cornwall?
20 years.
Yeah. That's you're a newcomer in those parts. And what
is completely.
Is the food the thing that's changed the most? Or other things too?
Yeah, I think so. But when I arrived, I don't think they had. I think in my first place in Port Isaac, I put a real coffee machine in there. So I think, it was all archaic in the nicest possible way. Kind of remembering holidays as a child, and all those wonderful things you associate with Cornwall. And now, you've got some of the best food coming out of this county. So, I think it's a very good place to be.
And so you're cooking in this as well. I was going to ask you about your restaurant. Is it going all right? How long has Watergate Baby opened?
So I opened 5 weeks ago in the new location. So it's good. It's been a bit bumpy because recruitment has been so hard, and people are quite unrelaxed, and that's quite hard from our point of view. But we're doing our best, and it's we're busy. We're very busy. I'm very lucky.
And are you experiencing this thing of, because I'm seeing all over London, just impossible to get staff then?
Yeah, so this is probably the best gig I've got, most amazing month, my book out, G7, and, I've been pot washing. So I think a lot of people that actually have businesses that have got it all going on have actually ended up kind of getting really stuck in again. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's quite good. I saw, and I can't remember his name. I think we talked about it last week. A sort of multi-millionaire restaurant chain owner had been getting involved in pot washing his hands. It's certainly, restaurateur friends of mine are certainly, the celebrity chefs are back in the kitchens. It's probably in some ways there's a sort of positive there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I can't do any of what I'm doing on my own, and I think it's all about your team. So you just got to get on with it, and I think things will get better, but I think people are very, very nervous. And actually, what has happened from last year is people have decided they don't want to be in hospitality because, quite frankly, it's quite tough.
So with all those other things going on, then there's the restaurant, there's the staffing thing, there's the G7, and then there's your book, Sea and Shore, and it's which is a lovely thing, and you clearly, I mean, you write about it explicitly, but obviously the book wouldn't exist if you weren't. That your cooking is influenced by Cornwall. What does that mean for the recipes, for the things, for the sort of the food that you prepare, and their sort of translation to the rest of us?
I think it's that feeling of a sense of place, a feeling of provenance. My food's all about simplicity, about cooking within the seasons. I've been banging the simplicity drum for years, and it's all kind of now come together for me because that's kind of what people, I think, are looking for even more. So my food's all about the connection between the land and the sea. It's not complicated. I hope people will buy my book and be able to cook from it and have fun and be inspired to cook fish where they might not have been, because some people kind of get scared about fish cookery, but actually it's one of the easiest and most simplest things to do. So yeah, just it's all about simplicity, Charles.
Well, it's funny when one says that, but I mean, people have to be able to get the ingredients. I mean, I wonder. I mean, what do you? How sort of people who? I mean, initially I was going to looking at it and go. I mean, it is wonderful and lovely and to go. But I was thinking, first of all, I was thinking, oh, what about sort of people in? You always go, oh, what about people in a tower block? And I think, well, they have to eat something. You know, there's that. But there's also, what about people in? We have a place in Gloucestershire, in Naunton, in the middle of nowhere, miles from the sea, rubbishy supermarkets. What can people cook who haven't got access to all this amazing produce?
I think I mean, you know, I always kind of, every time I mention supermarkets or local, you know, some people go, shouldn't, you know, kind of point to supermarkets, but actually some of the big supermarkets do have fish counters, and that's a great way of being able to source ingredients. And it's just about also being able to kind of, you know, if you can't get something else, maybe talk to the fishmonger, talk to the butcher about changing what you know, you can change, spot things. Recipes are there to have fun with. But there's a lot in my book that isn't pointed at fish and shellfish. So there's a lot. I've got a sweet tooth, so there's quite a lot of puddings, cakes, and things to enjoy cooking with kids. You know, I love cooking with my kids. Well, they're a bit older now, so but when they were younger, certainly something I love.
Well, now they're older, they're probably useful. I tried to cook with my children.
They are so useful.
They're absolutely terrible at it. But one of the things I was going to say with the fish, obviously you can get fish delivered, and I did quite a lot of that in lockdown. My friend Mitch Tonks, who's in Devon, so a little bit, you know, up the coast from you.
Mitch,
and Mitch has his wonderful the seahorse, and then he's got rockfish, but he's also doing fish deliveries. And you say about the ease of, I could have done with your book about 3 months ago, because I got Mitch sent me a huge bag of fish, not labelled. Also, boom, they arrived, these things slithering around. I mean, they were dead, but not very dead. And I phoned him up and he emailed me some recipes. And basically, I now can cook fish, just having cooked my way through this one bag. There's basically the ones that you need to sort of start in a pan, and the ones that go sort of straight in a hot oven. And it is straightforward, isn't it? In the end, people are
straight in the oven, over coals. It doesn't have to be complicated.
And I suppose one other thing to ask, I mean, it casts a bit of a downer, but just when I was getting into cooking fish and getting quite good at it, I went and saw this Seaspiracy film where they're telling us we must never eat fish again. Is that a bit of a spanner in the works?
I don't think so. I think that was the extreme scale, wasn't it? I think so. You know, it's good to watch, I guess, but it is on the literally extreme scale of things.
I watched it, and then I only subsequently was it revealed that they went in, that both of them are militant vegans and went into this filmmaking from the. I go, oh right. If you'd been persuaded to give up fish as a result of what you saw, rather than going in to prove, obviously we know that loads of the fishing practice is terrible, and there's all kinds of massive trawling that shouldn't go on. But no, if you buy the right kinds of fish, then it's the best and the healthiest and the most lovely thing to eat. Let's assume that my listeners, it doesn't have to be a fish recipe, but they have access to perfectly reasonable food shops. What's a good recipe they could maybe cook for their Friday night dinner tonight?
I think we go linguine. I think most good supermarkets you can buy white crab meat from. So I think we'll go crab linguine, chili, lemon, lots of parsley, and parmesan. I always put parmesan at the end.
You put cheese with, but the Italians would not have this. You put cheese on a fish dish.
Please try it. So good.
No, this is everything I believe. If you put cheese on fish, some Italian will ring your doorbell and.
No, it's really good. There is parmesan in my linguine recipe, and if you can't get crab, then I've got this very simple weekend spaghetti recipe with olive oil, chili, parsley, garlic. Couldn't be more simple. Take
us through that then. Let's imagine. Describe to me how to do it, and to our starting from putting the water on to boil and the pasta's going.
Put the water on to boil, and then you just need to in a frying pan saute some garlic gently, so you're not burning it, just gently. So like 4 or 5 garlic cloves, and then some chili. And then basically cook the pasta once the water's boiling, and then reserve some of the pasta water when you drain the pasta, and then basically add the chili and the garlic that's very gently sauteed in the pan into the pasta, some cloves of olive oil, and then throw in loads of flat leaf parsley, and that is lovely. I mean, squeeze of lemon if you fancy it, but honestly, really simple, but a really quick and easy supper.
You're describing exactly how I make my spaghetti alla vongole, except without the vongole. So do all that, and then just chuck in the clams, glass of wine, boom. But you're saying you could,
Yeah.
that's the great thing. You could, if you've got the crab, you can put it in. People muck about with tomato sauces and all that, but what you've just described is fine on its own. And then you could introduce things like crab or vongole stuff if you want to, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'm still worried about this grating cheese. My wife, when I put
No,
the vongole...
I please, can you do it for my book? And then I think you'll like it. It's very good.
Oh, I'm sure I would like it, but I just feel that it's like a kosher rule. It would be like a Jew eating pork. If you
There's no rules.
Well, the Italians, there are. The Italians say it's you must not have a chicken pasta, never chicken on a pasta, and never put a cheese on a fish. And then you do my wife reaches for the cheese on the vongole, and I'm going no. But it's true. The French will have a coquille Saint-Jacques with a cheese topping, won't they, on their scallops?
Yeah, definitely cheese all the way on the crab.
And so that sounds delicious, and I think we should definitely cook that. You're in Cornwall now and have been for 20 years. Before that, you've lived in Provence, Burgundy, Bordeaux, all these places. All great food and wine places.
All great food and wine places, and I think Cornwall is an interesting place to be as well. And there are quite a lot of similarities between where I was in Burgundy and Bordeaux. They feel similar in lots of ways, but always food and wine is very high on the list, definitely for me.
And what about your kids? You have done this all with the kids as well. That's have they grown up foodie like you? How's that been?
Yeah, no, they have. They're now 20, 18, and 16, so they have become very useful. And actually, with G7, my eldest serves the leaders, and Finn is very talented in the kitchen actually, so he's kind of helping out this summer and in the restaurant. And Evie is she's pot washing a bit actually, which seems a bit of a shame, but she's very good in the kitchen as well. So now they are literally earning their keep. So it's amazing.
And it sounds to me like everyone's been very supportive in the making of this book that you've been doing, because it said you've been doing it for 10 years.
Well, I kind of wanted to write a book 10 years ago, but like everything, it doesn't happen, does it, overnight? And you think, oh, I don't want to write a book, but it's just taken me a while to kind of, I guess, have the confidence to kind of put the words on the paper, really. And also it's involved to now having this wonderful restaurant by the sea, the book's out, and, cooking for the leaders was kind of the icing on the cake, really. So everything's just happened at once, but feels all quite natural.
And are you planning? I mean, how does your summer look? Are you expecting a huge influx of guests? Will it affect you if Mutti Merkel doesn't let everyone go away and everyone has to stay in England? Are you expecting to have like a huge trade? Have you got capacity to really feed a lot of people?
We have, but we're kind of. Luckily, in a great position of being fully booked for up to about 3 months. So. We do take reservations only because of the COVID situation. I mean, if things do kind of lift on the 19th, we might look again. But people are cautious, and I think people are understanding kind of it's reservations only. But I kind of miss that kind of being able to walk into your favourite places, because we definitely would have the capacity to do more walk-ins. So we'll see. Hopefully things will only get better.
To quote another G7 leader of former times, Tony Blair. Thank you ever so much, Emily Scott. It's been wonderful talking to you. This is the new restaurant, Watergate Baby, or the new location you must go to. Her book, Sea and Shore, is out now. I will be undoubtedly heading down to Cornwall when my Corsican holiday is cancelled, and I will look forward to coming to meet. Thank you ever so much for talking to us.